So I'm kind of rushing this video out because I think it could do more good now than it can do in a couple of weeks' time. About 40 days ago, I started playing with an idea that I had to make an extremely cheap pot or garden bed so that people on a really tight budget can jump into gardening really quickly. And something as accessible as a potting mix bag with some decent potting mix in it, without necessarily starting from a seedling, you can plant straight into a large potting mix bag and get really decent results in a relatively short period of time. And 40 days is about the amount of time that it took to achieve this. So without dragging it on all video, this is how they turned out. They started fruiting, and I would have liked to have had them in a more advanced stage of fruiting before I posted the video, but that's what we've got. So without ruining the whole video, I'm going to show you later how the raised garden beds have gone with the tomatoes that started basically from seed the moment I put these two pre-established plants in. All I used for these two plants was a 70-litre bag of potting mix. Now, it was $18 Australian, so I'll have the conversion up for the US viewers. But this is probably the cheapest raised garden bed if you're going to also buy soil for your garden bed. There are cheaper ways using your own compost and materials around your house. But if you're after a quick fix, instant garden, I can recommend this. All I did for the first month of their life was trellis them. We had constant rain, so it was really nice. I never had to water them. You may have to water them. I'm not saying you don't have to water this type of garden, but you do not need to add any fertilizer. The potting mix has 12 months worth of fertilizer for this specific brand. Other brands may not, but I do recommend buying a decent potting mix to start with, and you will get a decent result dependent on the size of your plant. So with a tomato, 70 litres is probably appropriately sized. With smaller plants like lettuces, you could probably lay a 70 litre on its side and plant multiple lettuce into that bag. So if you are going to do it with different plants, experiment with the size of the plant and the size of the potting mix bag. Different style bags will have different properties. So these ones are actually made of a woven plastic. So they do breathe a little bit better than the solid plastic ones. Just take that into consideration when you're planting. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Day 10 update. They're going really well, except for like some disease on this one. And it's moved over to this one. It's black and spotty. I don't know what it is, but I'm not touching them. I'm just going to see how they go. I'm actually going to move them though, because it's really hard to see them. These eggplants were just not having a good time before this rain, and they've just exploded. I mean, there's flowers on them and everything. This rain has brought the soil garden to life. I've actually planted some excess of the tomato seedlings over in the raised garden bed from the hydroponics, and they're going nuts as well. So the soil garden's come to life after all this rain, which has been, it's so good to see the rain. I'll move these now and I'll show you where I'm going to put them so that we can better see them. Holy crap. Ugh. And where better to put them than the entry to the tomato bed and what used to be the sunflower bed, but it was a sunflower bed. So in this bed, the larger of the seedlings are from the hydroponics. But what I found is, and those ones over there as well, but what I found is once I'd taken the mulch away from where I was planting them, all of these tomato seedlings from last year came up as well. So, I mean, all I really had to do was pull the mulch back and they just came through. So it's been 27 days since I first planted these, and the first flowers have just started to form. I trellised them up, but other than trellising them, I haven't touched them. I haven't used any pesticides. I'm just letting them grow naturally. As you can see down here, there's some lower branches that I would like to remove, but in keeping with the video, I'm just going to let them go. I haven't watered them except for the initial watering, but we've been really lucky. We've had pretty regular rain every 2 or 3 days, so they've not wanted for water. I'll just let them keep going and see how they turn out. Tomatoes in this bed are going bananas. Can you say that about tomatoes? I guess you can. The rain has just sent them nuts, and I have actually added chemical fertilizers to these ones in the form of a pelletized fertilizer that you can see around the base of the tomatoes. Other than that, I think I might just throw some trellises on there to give them some support before they get too big. Then we can see how they go. Now I'm just going to let them ramble. I might give them some guidance up through the trellises, but I love a rambling tomato. I don't know how to express how much I love a rambling tomato. Like, tomatoes are just the best. They just keep on giving and they grow like weeds. So, brilliant plant. I'm a bit tomato crazy at the moment. Oh no. So the Hügelkultur method here has just done wonders. I haven't watered these at all, and we've had a dry spell over the last week. But in the wet spell that we had, these beds just soaked it up like a sponge, and they're just alive with insect activity and fungal activity. There's a beautiful microbiome happening under there, and I'd hate to disturb it. So I'm just going to let it be. I have added chemical fertilizers to the top, but I just leave the beds as they are. The tomatoes are looking fantastic and they're going to be really productive. I'll give you some updates on that as it happens. Stoked with how they turned out, and the trellises are doing their jobs, giving them enough support, and they'll just fall over the top of them once they get large enough. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Hoochos. I didn't get the plants to the advanced stage that I wanted them to. I wanted to show you some fruits and stuff, but I needed to rush this video out, and I'll do an update video when I have a ton of fruit from them. See you next time. Like and subscribe for more Hoochos.